For more than 3 decades, one man quietly sat at the very top of Iran's power structure. Presidents came and went, governments changed, protests erupted, wars reshaped the region. But above all of it, one figure remained constant: Ayatollah Ali Khamenei.
غیر از اینکه خود من حقیقتاً لایق این مقام نیستم و این رو بنده میدونم، شاید آقایونم میدونید.
To millions inside Iran, he was the country's supreme leader, the highest authority in politics, religion, and the military. To his critics, he was the architect of one of the most tightly controlled political systems in the modern world. Yet the story of Ali Khamenei didn't begin with power. It began with a young religious student in the city of Mashhad, long before revolutions, wars, and global tensions turned him into one of the most influential figures in the Middle East.
The people were in a frenzy to catch just a glimpse of the man they revere like a god.
Ali Khamenei was born in 1939 in Mashhad, one of Iran's most religious cities. His family was deeply connected to the Shia clerical tradition. His father was a respected religious scholar, and from an early age, Khamenei was immersed in Islamic education. Unlike many political leaders who begin their careers in government or the military, Khamenei's early life was shaped by religious study. As a teenager and young adult, he spent years studying theology, Islamic law, and philosophy in religious seminaries. But Iran in the 1950s and 60s was undergoing massive change. At the time, the country was ruled by Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, a monarch backed by Western powers who was pushing Iran toward rapid modernization. While some welcomed these reforms, many religious leaders believed the Shah's policies were weakening Iran's Islamic identity. Among those critics was a rising cleric named Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini. Khomeini's speeches against the Shah quickly turned him into the voice of opposition among Iran's religious scholars, and Ali Khamenei became one of his followers. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Khamenei became increasingly involved in political activism. According to historical accounts, he was arrested multiple times by the Shah's security forces because of his support for the anti-government movement. For years, he moved between religious work and underground political activity. The Shah's government viewed clerics like Khamenei as dangerous because their influence extended far beyond politics and deep into Iranian society. Then, in 1979, everything changed. After months of massive protests and growing unrest, the Shah fled Iran. The Islamic Revolution toppled the monarchy and replaced it with an entirely new political system. Ayatollah Khomeini returned from exile and became the leader of the newly established Islamic Republic. For Khamenei, the revolution was the turning point that transformed him from a relatively unknown cleric into a national political figure. In the early years of the Islamic Republic, Khamenei quickly rose through the ranks of the new government. He became a member of the Revolutionary Council and later held several influential political positions. But one moment nearly ended his life. In 1981, during a public speech, a bomb hidden inside a tape recorder exploded near him. The attack severely injured him, leaving his right arm permanently damaged. Despite the assassination attempt, Khamenei continued climbing the political ladder. Just months later, he was elected president of Iran. He served as president during one of the most difficult periods in the country's modern history, the Iran-Iraq War, a brutal 8-year conflict that devastated both nations and killed hundreds of thousands of people. During those years, Khamenei worked closely with Ayatollah Khomeini, the revolutionary leader who still held ultimate authority. And when Khomeini died in 1989, Iran faced a massive political question: who would replace him? The answer surprised many observers. Despite not holding the highest traditional clerical rank at the time, Ali Khamenei was chosen as Iran's new supreme leader, the most powerful position in the country. From that moment forward, Khamenei would control Iran's armed forces, influence its judiciary, shape its foreign policy, and oversee the entire political system. While Iran still had presidents and elections, the supreme leader stood above them all. Over the next 3 decades, Khamenei became the defining figure of Iranian politics. He guided the country through sanctions, international pressure, and growing tensions with Western nations. Under his leadership, Iran expanded its regional influence through alliances and proxy groups across the Middle East. At the same time, critics accused his government of suppressing dissent and cracking down on protests. Several waves of demonstrations erupted in Iran over the years, including the 2009 Green Movement and more recent protests triggered by economic struggles and social tensions. Each time, the government responded with strict security measures. Supporters of Khamenei argued he was defending Iran's sovereignty against foreign interference. Critics claimed his leadership prevented political reform and restricted freedoms. Outside Iran, Khamenei's name became closely tied to geopolitical tensions. Relations with the United States remained hostile for decades. Iran's nuclear program triggered international sanctions and diplomatic standoffs, and regional conflicts involving Israel, Lebanon, Syria, and Iraq all intersected with Iran's expanding influence. By the 2020s, Khamenei had become one of the longest-serving leaders in the world. But as the years passed, the question of succession began to grow louder. Iran's political system revolves heavily around the authority of the supreme leader. When that position eventually becomes vacant, the entire balance of power inside the country can shift. Recently, reports and speculation surrounding Khamenei's health and the possibility of succession have intensified, especially as tensions in the region continue to escalate. If the era of Ali Khamenei truly comes to an end, Iran will face one of the most important transitions in its modern history. For over 30 years, he stood at the center of the country's political system, shaping its direction, defending its ideology, and guiding it through crises that reshaped the Middle East. To some, he will be remembered as the guardian of Iran's Islamic Revolution, to others as the symbol of a system that resisted change. But regardless of perspective, one thing is certain: few individuals have shaped the modern Middle East as deeply or as controversially as Ali Khamenei. And the moment he is no longer there to lead Iran raises a question that could define the region's future. What happens to a system built around one man when that man is finally gone?